Consider the following triangle. If the measure of angle B is equal to 17 degrees, the measure of angle C is equal to 140 degrees, the length of AC is equal to B, and the length of AB is equal to 15 units, what is little b approximately? Little b is approximately blank units. Okay, so I'm going to sum up law of sines. What you need, so law of sines. You need pairs of, you need one pair of an angle and its side length opposite it. And then you need either A, one angle, one more angle, and finding its side length opposite it, or you need one side length, one more side length, and finding the angle opposite it. So law of sines is that, and then those are the requirements, and then it would be sine of the angle divided by its opposite side, so that's why it's little a, is because its opposite angle, big A, is going to equal sine of angle B will be divided by its opposite side, which is little b, which will equal sine of angle C divided by its opposite side. And you can use the reciprocal rule on this and either have the side length divided by the sine of the angle is equal to the side length divided by the sine of the opposite angle equal to the side length divided by the opposite angle. So either one of these you can use. It depends on what you're finding and how you want it set up. So that's a recap of the law of sines. And then right here, and you don't have to use all three of these. You at least need two of them. So I kind of sometimes don't like to include all three because sometimes that confuses the learner. So you have to have just at least two. So on this, we have an angle. We have angle 140. So we have this pair of an angle and its side length opposite it, and we have that angle and its side length opposite it, which is 15. And so we have a good setup right there. And then we also have another angle, and we're asking to find its opposite side length. So we're doing this one on A. So now we're going to choose. I'm going to choose to use this setup because I'm looking for little b, which is a side length, and I want it in the numerator when I'm solving it. So I'm just going to set it up, and I'm not going to set up according to angle A, B, or C. I'm just going to explain what the law of sines is. So I have the side length that I want to find, which is little b. So I'm going to say little b divided by the sine of the angle opposite it. So sine of 17 degrees is going to equal another side length, 15, divided by the sine of the angle opposite it. So sine of 140. So again, I didn't do it based off of whether it was A, B, or C. I was just telling you the relationship between these two. So now B is being divided by sine of 17. And I know that sine of 17 is an exact form of a decimal that goes on forever. And that's why they use it as sine of 17. It's just a number. It's a decimal that goes on forever. And they didn't want to write out that decimal that goes on forever. They just wanted it in an exact form. So I can treat it like a number. When I have an unknown being divided by a number, I multiply or use the inverse operation. So I'm going to multiply by sine of 17 to both sides. sine of 17. Now, sine of 17 being divided by sine of 17 reduces down to 1 because it's the same thing being divided by the same thing. So then I would have 1b is equal to 15. Again, when you multiply fractions, it's numerator to numerator, and sine of 17 can be written as like sine of 17 divided by 1. So this would be like, I'm not going to include parentheses. It's going to be 15 times sine of 17 in the numerators, because that is what this is. Top to top, bottom to bottom. Sine of 140 times 1 is sine of 140. So again, we're going to jump over to our symbol lab. And more commonly, this 1b is just written as b. So we have solved it. So we have 15 sine of 17 degrees being divided by sine of 140 degrees. Now it is solving for those degrees, which is what we want, and it says it's approximately 6.822. So it says to enter your answer as a number rounded to the nearest tenth. So when I round, I go to the hundredth. That's a 2. That is less than 5. So that means this is closer to 6.8 than it is to 6.9. So I will be staying at 6.8. Alternatively, if you have this down, you could write it out as b divided by sine of 17 degrees. Again, this is to help support you with your algebra. 5 is equal to 15 divided by sine of 140 degrees. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. And then it will show you the steps. So it says multiply both sides by sine of 17 degrees. That's what we did. And so then it reduced it down, and it just says 15 sine of 17 degrees divided by sine of 140 degrees, which is exactly what we did, and then it gives us your decimal. So again, if the algebra is a little rusty, you can use this to support yourself.